I cold called my way into ownership of an English football club, and I'm going to tell you something very interesting about PSG before the Champions League final tomorrow. And we are going to compare the finances between their 2020 squad and their current 2025 squad, both that made finals appearances in the Champions League, and all financial information is provided by Capology. So in 2020, you had Neymar, who was on over 800 grand a week. You had Mbappe, who was on over 600 grand a week, another 3 players that were making 300 grand or more per week, and 4 players who were making over 200 grand per week. And if you look at the players in between 70 to 100 grand per week, you had 2. Of the players making 200 grand a week per more on the 2020 squad, you had 4 that were age 30 or over. If you compare that to this squad in 2025, you have about 9 players making 200 grand or more per week, none exceeding that 300 grand or approaching that 400 grand threshold. So you don't have those mega salaries between any players on this squad. And then you have 5 players that are making between 70 and 100 grand per week. In the player bracket of making 200 grand or more per week, you have 1 player that's 30 or over. So you're looking at a much more balanced squad in terms of finances, and you're looking at a younger squad of the players that you're paying more in this 2025 squad. And that's not to say that Paris is more likely to win this final than they were the last final, but a younger, more balanced roster very well could be the reason that PSG takes home their first Champions League title.